typically I hone in on something with you right out of the gate. I want to go treetops with you first thing this morning after week 7 and just ask you big picture, what stood out to you on Saturday?
Dan Lanning. And I think if you look at it in total, you understand and appreciate his aggressiveness, and he almost pulled it off. But in the sum total of it was extremely negative. I frankly didn't object to his last call, just try to win the game right. Yeah. Too many coaches, play games, and with a 3-yard reception, the game's over. But it was more the calls earlier. He just looked like he was just way too reckless, and his record does not help him. Having said all that, field goal, goes 2 feet to the left, and we're in overtime. But it really was a confirmation, though, of what I've resisted hearing for weeks, and that's how good the Pac-12 is. And that was my ultimate takeaway, Matt, that they are going to figure large into this playoff race.
Yeah, absolutely. And with regards to Dan Lanning, part 1, he owned it in the post-game press conference. He's like, looking back, would I have kicked the field goal for halftime? Sure. I made a decision based on the information that I was given. And that just sends me off into a tailspin of a soapbox and a rant, unlike any other, because I am so tired of hearing analytics. I am so sick and tired of hearing about the math. Like, I know what the math says. Okay, so you've got some guy, and I posed this to Mullen during one of our halftimes. I said, head coaches you guys are all control freaks. So why would you cede control of a decision to a guy holding a book of numbers? Because ultimately a book of math means nothing when humans are the one executing it. And so the one before the half, when you were getting the ball to start the third quarter, there was a 2-for-1 situation. And I give him a ton of credit for going in there and saying, yeah, I probably would have done it differently. But there are going to be some coaches. We see this all the time, not just yesterday with Dan Lanning. Lane likes to do it a lot. Coaches around the country are trying to do. They are starting to get to the point where they're relying so heavily on analytics, they're losing games because of it.
Yeah.
Lane
Kiffin might be the worst. I've questioned him a couple of different times, and he said, "Well, the numbers told me to do it." I said, "Well, you lost the game." But I still came away respecting Dan Lanning, though. I respect this guy. And at the end of the afternoon, are you going to tell me Washington is better than Oregon? I mean, it was an amazing game. And I think, we've been waiting for it. So I'm pretty fired up to see what happens next with that. I was impressed with everyone in that game. I mean, it's just, a stupid kick decides it. So that was really, conversely, you called it last week. So I was not surprised when I saw what happened in South Bend. I was quite pleased because I'm just sick of this Lincoln Riley trying to act like, the world has changed. I mean, they're a really good team, but anyone who understands college football knew weeks ago that this team was about to blow up.
Yeah, and I'm glad you had talked about it, because we finally got Galloway also buying into the Pac-12, because when you look at this conference as a whole, I don't think it's out of the question to see Oregon and Washington meet up again in the Pac-12 championship.
Give me something I can feel. Light a cigarette just so I can breathe.